All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for hopping on our call. I'm super excited for all of you to be on, and a few of you, we did some introductions early on, but my name is Lauren, and I am a mom and a wife, two little boys, ages 3 and 5. I'm from Orlando. And then we have Jenny. Jenny, you're going to have to kind of wave so people can see who you are. Jenny's co-hosting this with me, so I'm going to kick off our call, and Jenny's going to wrap it up. And then we have a ton of featured speakers that are going to share tonight a little bit about their heart, because this call, after all, right, on our slide over there, it's heart-driven community. That's really at the core of what we're all about. And if you're just hopping on, just make sure that you go ahead and mute so that we don't have background noise going on. Thank you so much. All right, so our event this evening is intended to encourage us to think outside of the box in regards to health, time, and financial freedom. And you've been invited because somebody really respects you. And personally, I think if they invited you, that you should consider it a huge compliment, because there's a lot of heart that's involved in this, and there's special connections as to why we invite people to these kind of calls. So huge compliment, guys. The event will be super relaxed. You don't have to buy anything or do anything at all. Really just we want to share some brief information and stories. And so I hope you guys will enjoy listening, and perhaps you'll think of somebody in your life who needs to hear this message. And since we're not going to be doing a ton of interacting during the event, to kick off, I really want to ask you guys a question. And I want you to throw comments in the comment box here. And that question is, would you agree that being healthy today is challenging? Awesome. Oh, I love seeing the comments. And I can't even see all of them because of me being in present mode, but no, this is great. Being challenging today is extremely difficult. There's stuff that comes out in the news all the time that is just different and says one thing is healthy one day and the other it's not. But the folks you're going to hear from tonight are all part of a movement called the Healthy Living Revolution. And if you're just hopping on, please make sure to mute. Our desire is really to come alongside families and individuals who want better health, but also giving people additional options. So we're going to talk through a few different doorways here. So this slide shows how difficult the options can be at the grocery store, right? Like sometimes that's how I feel. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? But the 3 doorways that the Healthy Living Revolution really helps with is, the first is free resources, the second is nutritional support, and the third is the company that makes it all possible. And it really does help people realize their dreams. And that may sound corny now, but you'll get to hear a little bit more from people who are going to share. So let's talk real quickly, just very briefly, about what these 3 doorways entail, because some of you may have little to no background on the Healthy Living Revolution. So if you have questions after this segment, I would encourage you to reach out to the person who invited you to the call. So here we go. So free resources. Within our Healthy Living Revolution, there are tons of free resources, and that includes cookbooks, short webinars on trending health topics, as well as ongoing in-person and live events around the country. So we have lots of states represented here, but there are also a lot that are online. So if you're a mom who's home with her kids, or it's hard to go somewhere, there are ways to tune in and get additional education without having to like try to go out in the evening when the kiddos are sleeping, like some of us are experiencing now. So you see a few different things on this slide that show the different resources that are available, but a lot of them are really tremendous. And guys, healthy doesn't mean disgusting or that it doesn't taste good. It's quite the contrast, actually. And then nutritional support, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about that. So in the news right now, I don't know if any of you, how connected you are to the news, but there are a lot of headlines out there right now that are talking about our food quality and how critical fruits and vegetables are to our health. It's not a new health concept at all, or a fad like some other things that, you know, are out there, but they've always been one of the most critical things that we need. And because food quality is not the same, our chances of developing a chronic illness or disease is higher than ever. And, you know, these articles in Time and Newsweek are all a reflection of that. And that's really where the nutritional support of plant concentrates comes in. So what's in these whole food concentrates? Well, it's actually called Juice Plus. And again, we're going to touch on this briefly, but you'll see on the slide here, it is essentially 30 different raw vine-ripened whole foods that are put in a capsule or gummy form. So it's kind of like a salad in a capsule. And there are a few other products that are available They're pictured here on the slide. In the middle, you see this orange bottle. It's a fully plant-based omega. And then there's a macronutrient, protein powder in vanilla and chocolate. And those are great for kind of meeting people where they're at in terms of healthy treats, smoothies, protein pancakes, protein balls, edible brownie batter, personal favorite, and cookie dough. So there are lots of like sweet treats I can make for the kids that aren't as bad as things with refined sugar. And who am I kidding? For myself too. Like, I like sweets, so I need healthy alternative options. Not featured on the slide, we have some snack bars. So if you're a snack bar fan, that may appeal to you. And then the final product is a tower garden, which I don't have a picture, but the logo is up in the right-hand corner. And it's a vertical aeroponic garden that makes growing easy for everybody, even people with black thumbs like me. And then the last thing I'll mention really quickly is that we have, in addition to the products, 2 super awesome programs that can be taken advantage of by anybody. The first is our Healthy Starts for Families, where kids ages 4 through college can receive 20 fruits and vegetables every single day, free of cost, with an adult order. And the other is a 10-day detox, utilizing some products along with free perks, including an eating guide, recipes, and an online support community for 10 days out of every month. And a lot of us do this together every single month because it gives us accountability and support that we, so often don't get, and that is sometimes what causes us to fall off the rails or get discouraged, because it's not about perfection, it's about progress. So while we're certainly passionate about health, we don't get it right every time, but I love that Juice Plus products help bridge the gap. And it's not to replace fruits and vegetables, it's really just to help bridge the gap between what we're eating and what we should be eating. So hopefully that resonates with you guys. And if you're just hopping on, I'll just ask that you'll make sure that you mute. But we're going to go ahead and switch gears and move into our part, which I'm so excited about, and that is getting to hear some people share stories tonight, just of their health journey and just what this community has done for them. But before we do that, I want to ask another question, and that is, would you agree that health, be it physical, mental, spiritual, or financial, all impacts our life and our life choices? So if you agree, throw in a comment. You can expound on that if there's something that stands out to you especially. I would love to see and hear that. Oh, I love these. These are great. So I can't see all of them, but keep the comments coming. I love interaction like this. So one thing that I think is super important that we all know is that if we don't have our physical health, it's really hard to enjoy the things that fill us up, right? So that could be our kids, certain activities, could be doing a sport. For some of us, if we've struggled with an illness, it could mean that our physical health means that we get to be here, to actually be here with the people we love, and that's a really sobering thought. All of us have had people in our families or people we know where that hasn't been their reality. And in addition to physical health, we know that if we're lacking in those other areas, it impacts our life, guys. So all 4 of these areas, could everybody just make sure to mute for me, please? Thank you so much. So all 4 of these areas really paint a picture of the type of life that we're living, and we're going to touch on those here. So all the folks that you're about to hear from tonight are part of the Healthy Living Revolution movement that we talked about, but they've chosen to take another step to become part of what we call the Freedom Revolution. And you'll see on the slide there, that's the community that we're talking about tonight. It's the business community. And the main mission of this side of the business is to bring freedom through improved health, but also to bring people a different type of freedom. So we're going to transition into stories. Our guests are going to be sharing just things that are super heartfelt. It's going to be fun and done in an interview style tonight. So you're going to get to hear from people all throughout the country. So here we go. And I'm just going to ask as we kick off that each guest that, I pick a question and ask, if you would introduce yourself, where you're from, and how long you've been with the company. So I can remind you of those 3 things as we're kind of going through, but we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then I'm going to ask if Chelsea would unmute.
Hey, Lauren.
Hey, oh, this is so fun. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to let you kick off in your introduction, and then I'll go ahead and ask you your question. I want to pick your brain.
Sure. So I'm Chelsea, and I am coming to you guys from Denton, Texas, so North Texas. And I have been a part of the Freedom Revolution or Healthy Living Revolution for 3 years.
That's awesome. So how did you first find out about the community, be it for the Healthy Living Revolution or the Freedom Revolution part?
Yeah, so actually, my neighbor had been a part of this community for quite a while, and I think you'll hear from her later. And she just knew I was really struggling. I was a mom of two very young kids, and I was having some crazy autoimmune stuff go on. So she invited me over to her house for those free resources that you were talking about. She was just giving free education about nutrition and, meal prep and plant-based diets. And she was even, taking a time out to educate moms in how to educate their children regarding nutrition. And that just really sparked something inside of me. And the product made sense to me at first, but I wasn't really sure I wanted to be a part of the Healthy Living Revolution. And so what I did was I said, well, come over. I'll have some of my mom friends over, and please just share with them what you've shared with me. And but I said, I don't want to be a part of the revolution. I just want to take Juice Plus and go on my merry way. Well, what actually ended up happening is a lot of my mom friends totally got it. They understood the need to bridge the gap in their families, not only with Juice Plus, but even with the business. And so for me, it just, in that moment, I realized I can lock arms with my friends and really make a difference in a ton of people's lives with inspiring healthy living. So that's kind of how I got introduced to this whole thing.
That's awesome. I love that you're honest that at first you were like, no, and then you're like, no, this is different than I thought it was. So
totally, yeah. And I have not looked back.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for being authentic and sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Pamela, I want to hear a little bit about what made you say yes to getting involved with not only the products and the business. And I can't find you on my screen, so you're just going to have to unmute and hop on here.
I'm here. Thank you,
There you
Lauren.
are.
Well, my name is Pamela. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'm a nurse by trade. So I was one of those rare people who actually called and asked about Juice Plus. I was in the Dr. Sears program, and in some of his lessons, he talked about whole food concentrate. So I Googled it and found out that it was researched at MD Anderson, and I used to work with Dr. Lovell Jones. So I was just in awe that I didn't know about the product until I found it through Dr. Sears' course. Just like she was saying, I had no interest, like Chelsea said, in doing the business, but I knew it made sense to sign up for the business because my husband and myself, I knew it would be on it long term, and I just wanted to get our product at cost. And friends started asking me, what are you doing? Your skin is so pretty. And I said, I'm taking Juice Plus, these fruits and vegetables in a capsule. And I really didn't get into the business until I got like $100 check in the mail. I actually called the office and said, you guys made a mistake. You deposited $100 in my account, and then I got this check in the mail because I had told my sponsor that I wasn't interested in the business. So she never gave me any information about the business. She totally respected where I was. So it wasn't until the second $250 check that I realized that this could be a business. At first, it was just something that I was, wanting my family to take.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't even know that about your story. We've met and talked a few times. So yeah. It's funny how different things come out, at different points. But I love that. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
All right. Miss Ashley Maples.
Hello.
Hi.
Everyone.
Good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys? Or you? Because you're the only one unmuted.
Good. We can do thumbs up here.
Yeah. So I'm Ashley Maples. I live in Illinois. And sorry, there's going to be some background music or some background noise because my kids are watching a movie right now right beside me. So I apologize. I live in Illinois, and I've been with the Juice Plus company and started the product at the same time. So it's been exactly a year now, within like a couple of days. So yeah,
That's awesome. And I love that you can do this business while your kids are sitting with you. So some people have their kids as their little business partners that sit on their lap for calls like this. So
He was trying to wave.
he's excited. He wants to be on camera too. Well, why don't you share with us the top 3 ways that the product and the business have really impacted, your family?
Okay, so many things have happened to us since we started this journey a year ago. Not only with our health picture, but also just the overabundance of education that you guys have already talked about on the power of fruits and vegetables. It's just been a huge blessing that I didn't know we needed before. So second, we are just more aware of what we're putting in our mouths. I've been teaching my kids while I'm learning just bad food versus healthy food. And I'm instilling in them the effects of processed food, sugar, et cetera, and what it can do to their bodies. And that fruits and veggies will build them strong and give them energy and set them up for success. And it's just, they're catching on, and it's only been a year. So it's just really exciting to see them know the difference between what's good for them and what's bad for them. And then lastly, the resources, once again, such as the free websites and the recipes, the helpful tips and education have helped me gain wisdom. Then as a member, I've gotten prime access to countless other resources to guide me on this mission. And then this community, that's here whenever I need them. And if I have any questions, they've just been a huge blessing too. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So It's enriched your life, not only in your health, but the other areas I guess we touched on earlier, right? Like mental, spiritual, all of that kind of thing.
All of it. Yeah, it's been great. So thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you so much for sharing. Mm-hmm. All right. We have Katie Crockett here.
Hi.
Hey, I love your dress and I love the red background. It's like a pop of color on the screen.
Thank you.
No, that's great. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then I'm going to pick a question to ask you.
Yes, ma'am. So my name's Katie Crockett. I live in Bristol, Virginia, originally from Nashville, Tennessee. I have 2 children. Christopher is 3 and Anna Kay is 1. And I've been with the business for 3 years and been taking the product for 6.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a little different than some of the other stories.
It is.
Yeah. Well, I guess this is a good question for you then. What is one thing that you wish you would have known sooner? And it could be about the products or the business.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to pick the business. So I'm a dietitian by trade, and I was working in the corporate world for seven years. I worked in a hospital, and then I worked for a cancer outpatient clinic. So I spent most of my time offering nutrition education to patients that were not receptive to change. And I was tired of it. I was tired of spinning my wheels, tired of sitting behind a desk, and really feeling like I was settling for crumbs and I lost my purpose in what I was doing. And so March 2016, my son was born, and I began sharing the product with all of my coworkers. And we were doing the 10-day detox each month together. And I found myself working my side gig or my business on my lunch break and on, during work when I shouldn't have been. But I was loving it, and I was falling in love with my new purpose, and my purpose was evolving, and I was making money. And so I said to myself, if I can make $500 by doing this for 30 minutes a day, what in the world could happen if I did this full time? So after lots of prayer and realizing that I was missing a lot of Christopher's milestones, I felt the Lord nudging me to take the risk. And I'm not a very big risk taker, but I knew I had a lot of peace in my heart that this was the best thing to do, because after all, I was finding my purpose again. So I retired myself in 2017. It was in November. And like I said, I packed my things and walked out the door. and was like, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm going to make it work. So, so this is where my question comes into play. I've experienced the most personal, my personal growth journey since I've left the corporate world. I've been in opportunities where I've had to grow and get uncomfortable. And last fall was really when I put the pedal to the metal as far as getting uncomfortable. I joined a club in Bristol. I joined 2 Bible studies, and I joined a MOPS group. And I used to be a very introverted person, and I'm not that way anymore. So I have forced myself to get out of my comfort zone and have experienced a tremendous amount of growth. I've had the privilege of spending time with a business coach and a life coach, and all exposing lots of things that make me uncomfortable. But if I had not had those experiences, I wouldn't be where I am today. So if I had known that this would happen in the last year or so, I would have left corporate a long time ago.
Wow.
That is all.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. Everybody's journey is so different and unique, which makes this so fun to get to hear just different perspectives. I love that. All right, Leah Sheeter.
Hey girl. Hi everybody. I'm Leah, and I'm a mom and wife, and I live in Orlando, close to Lauren.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Yes, she lives about 30 minutes from me, which is fun because we get to see each other sometimes. So I'm curious for you, what advice would you give to somebody who's on the call, who's maybe looking to make changes in their health, but is afraid to take the first step? And it could be also if they are interested in the business, but they're nervous.
Great. That's a great question. You know, I believe, and I don't think this is just an opinion, but I really do believe that every decision is a seed that's planted for our future. And so if you're sitting on here kind of afraid to take a step, you know, I want to empathize, because when I got started, I was in a confusing situation and a health crisis and really didn't know which end was up. So I know what that feels like. And I really want you guys to consider something. There was a quote that I came across that made me think of this. I'm going to read it to you. It's not the big things that add up in the end. It's the hundreds, thousands, millions of little things that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. So what I would encourage you to do is ask yourself, what if? What if I chose to take one simple step? And that's the key. Take a simple step. There's a lot of things I've done for my health journey to come to an amazing place of healing. And I'm in the best health I've ever been. And I'm 10 years older now. I've been with the company for 11 years. But it all started with a simple step of, first of all, realizing fruits and vegetables can benefit anyone, no matter how healthy or unhealthy they are. What if I flooded my body with 30 plants every day for the next year and just observed what happened? Just take that into consideration, that simple step. And maybe if you're on here and you're contemplating, well, what would the value be of me starting not just the product, but the business too? I would just say the reason I did it, and I had no clue what I was getting myself into, but I did it, number one, because I was like, well, of course I want to get the best cost on my own product. Of course I would love to offset and cover my costs. That's really all that I had intended to do from the beginning. But what I have found is your health journey, you will get more out of it if you are a part of this aspect of our community. So that's one piece. You'll have a lot of fun. You cannot be a part of this and not have fun. So if you don't want to have fun, then you probably shouldn't sign up. You'll gain a lot of amazing friends, and you never know what might happen, because I totally started not knowing what I was going to get myself into. I was only going to cover my costs. And you guys, this opportunity has given me the chance to leave the corporate world and be a present mom. I didn't even have kids back then. I've been able to have healthy children. I've got 3 girls, and I get to choose how we're going to design our days. I get to be present with the people that matter to me most, and never in a million years would I have thought that this would have given me the opportunity to do that. So just ask yourself, what if? That's all I've got.
Oh, I love that. What if? So applicable in so many areas of our life. Thank you, Leah. That was so great. And I loved that quote. All right. Well, we're going to invite our last guest on tonight to share, Miss Leanne Harris. I know you have an interesting story that I think many people can relate to.
I'm here.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure if you were unmuted yet.
Yes, I am. So I'm Leanne Harris, and I live in Denton, Texas, and I'm probably the veteran of the group. I've been taking Juice Plus 18 years, have not missed it a day. It's radically changed our health, and I was actually the one that got to share or work with Chelsea, and so it's just really fun to have a reason to hang out with my neighbor. So yeah, and when I started, my kids were teenagers, and now they're paying for their own Juice Plus. It's awesome.
That's so cool. That's such a neat story. Well, I would love for you to kind of close us out tonight and just share a little bit about, some people are like, oh my gosh, I don't have the time. I work full time, or I work 50 hours a week and I have 3 kids. I can't imagine adding something else to my plate. I would love to hear a little bit about your story.
Okay. Well, we were the couple that said we can't afford Juice Plus in the beginning. And I had a very good friend say to me, well, could you eat out once less a week? If you felt like you could afford it, would you want it? And I was just like, I can't afford it. But we couldn't afford to stay sick. So we made a choice of what we could afford and what we wanted our future to look like. I actually was a customer for 6 years before I decided to partner with this company. And I've been in the medical field over 30 years, and I wanted out, much like Katie. It's just like I needed a change. I wanted to be on the wellness and prevention side. And at 45, I went in for my job interview, and, I was in the glass ceiling. I couldn't make any more. I couldn't work anymore. My future was not going to look like what I wanted it to look like as far as time freedom. So I took a really close look at what if, like Leah said, what if this really was a vehicle for us to have a way to multiply our income, not just, double it, but multiply it, and we could have more time freedom. So I made a decision in October of 2007 that I was going to build this business, and it didn't matter how long it took. I just knew that I wanted to be in this community because, like you said, it is a lot of fun. It is very educational. And I remember my first, event where I invited friends over was horrible. It was just like, golly, my husband always said, if we could have left, honey, the whole family would have left, And now I have the honor of getting to speak all over the place. And so the personal growth, all the things that come through this community are wonderful. Since I have started my business, it took me 36 years to make a certain income in the medical field. It took me 5 years to replace that in this business. And today, my husband only works 3 days a week, and we travel together. And I got to say yes to watching my granddaughter today just because I could. And I didn't get to do that with my kids. Guys, my husband worked 2 jobs for 20 years. We saw him 4 days a month for 20 years. And I was up at 4 a.m. out the door to be in surgery by 5:30 every day. And I wish I could go back. I wished I could go back with our health and take care of our health the way that I now eat. I wish I could go back and have that time with them. Those stolen moments are so precious. But I can't, and we cannot beat ourselves up for what we didn't know. But we can change tomorrow by changing today. And so I would just encourage you, whoever invited you on does obviously love you and care about you. And they want to partner with you, or they wouldn't have invited you on. And you might want to just consider what if. And who knows? I sure didn't, plan on being where I'm at. And I'm so thankful I said yes. So I learned to work in stolen moments at, like what you said, when everybody else was in the break room. I was, somewhere doing something, and it was just a decision I made. So.
Wow. Well, I've been in the business about a year and a half, and I'm crying a little bit because you're even speaking to me, with where I am in my life. That's why I've made the change that I have. So there are probably other people on the call that can really relate to that. So I just am so thankful that you guys are so authentic and sharing the hard parts, the good and, the skepticisms or things that you've struggled with. So we're going to go ahead and transition here so that we can wrap up. And I'm going to invite my friend Jenny on to close us out tonight.
Hey, everybody. I'm so thankful for the stories that we got to hear tonight. I just wanted to echo what Lauren said and just thank everybody for getting on. And you may be watching and you're like, well, what's next? I have all sorts of thoughts going through my mind. So I just wanted to wrap it up with a few thoughts for you. Maybe something stood out to you. There may be a couple different types of people who've listened tonight. Maybe somebody who's ready to take the next step in their health, whether it's to check out our free resources that Lauren mentioned or make life easier by adding Juice Plus, which only costs a few dollars a day and kids get free. Maybe you're wanting to earn a stable residual secondary income in order to expand your options while making a difference. Maybe that's you. Maybe you fit into both categories, but the Freedom Revolution gives parents the financial peace of mind to actually choose mom and dad care instead of daycare. And hardworking professionals can have the choice to build their own dreams instead of someone else's. College kids can build a side gig to help pay for school without having to get a job. Empty nesters can increase their retirement so that there's enough to enjoy life and give a future to their future generations. And each of these types of people can pursue working just a few hours a week in stolen moments, just weave it into your life, or part-time or full-time to replace part-time or full-time incomes. And, you even have an opportunity with this company to have a full benefits package, which is amazing. So if you're curious as to next steps and want to chat more, please reach out to the person that invited you. For those that want to know how to get started yourself, perhaps sharing with a few important people in your life, it's actually super simple. If you get started yourself and invite 1 or 2 other people to join you, you immediately begin offsetting the cost of your product. And you get to enjoy this amazing community. It's a special program that we have called the Healthy Living Plan. Nowadays, most people hop on board with consuming the product and joining the business at the same time because it just makes sense, as many people shared tonight. Why? Because the Juice Plus company has the right products, it's the right business model, and it's the right time. Our country is in dire need of the message that we have. So to close out, I want to say a big thank you to those of you who shared, and hopefully we'll get to see more of you in some of our local events that we have. We're an amazing community, and it's been an absolute pleasure to jump on and share with you guys what we're up to. We hope you have a great night.
Well, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for joining tonight. I know that it's a sacrifice to take a few minutes and, a few minutes away from the family at night when you have downtime. But thank you so much for joining, and I'll go ahead and stop the recording and everybody can say goodbye.